All right, let's see if anybody's and they're off here. Let's see how long we gotta wait for YouTube tonight. Tickety tock, tickety tock, tickety tock. 20, 25, 30. Still waiting, YouTube. 35. Here we come. 38 seconds till I get to my ad tonight. All right, bear with me. Skip that. Shift everything around. All right. And let's see. Jacob, Krista, Healthy Disrespect, Mr. G in God's Country, Telmore, VG426, Tate, Emma, Arizona Watch 154 Cal. There's a good one. Scrapper. Okay, so a bunch of you guys, somebody with an 8 by Robert Bates, 8 by 8. Yeah, okay. Good evening, gang. Happy Saturday night. I hope you all have had a glorious day. It rained most of the morning. We've had rain for like, 2.5 days here. Finally, the sun broke out a little bit this afternoon, so it was nice finally. But no, we've had some interesting days around here. It's been a busy few days, at least for me, between, let's see, what did I do? I planted 4 more fruit trees. So we got an apricot, a nectarine, a persimmon, and another cherry tree in. I finished up the solar array I showed you guys last week. I put a couple more casters on there, got some fence staples, put a good rope on that. So that was all set. Things flat as a board. No jokes. Okay, yes, I remember those from my days in high school too. Carpenter's Dream, we all know that one. Or at least the guys do. But, oh God, what the hell else did we do? God, there's something. What I fixed the mailbox, pulled weeds. I mean, there's like half a dozen other things I did. I can't even remember everything. It was like just absolutely crazy. It was, give it this way, I was so wiped out. I went to bed at 5:45 last night and slept until 5 o'clock this morning. I was completely wiped. So yeah, it's been a good time. Mrs. P and I have got a lot done around here, and this week is going to be absolutely insane because we are now past our last frost date here in East Tennessee. April 30th is the collective idea of it. And so this week, the tomatoes will be going in, some of the peppers will be going in. It's time to plant corn. Beans will be sometime next week. So yeah, I've got a boatload of planting that's got to be done. A lot of you guys in my neck of the woods got to be really happy with your fruit trees this year because we didn't get that late freeze like we normally do. For the last couple of years, it basically has froze off all our blooms off of our peach trees, our pear trees. I mean, last year we got maybe a dozen peaches. I went out and looked at my trees today. My peach tree has got easily a couple of hundred peaches on it right now that are golf ball size. My pear tree, easily over 100. My plum trees, I've got 3 of them. I have 3 different kinds of plums, red, purple, and yellow. I've probably got between the 3 trees 1,000 plums on them. So it's one of those where Mrs. P and I were talking about she picked our first strawberry today too. But we were talking about this. It's like, okay, what are we going to do all these? I'm like, well, you're making jams and jellies. I said, we'll wind up dehydrating a bunch of them. I said, I'm going to take a bunch of it and make wine out of it. I said, we'll use them all, but God knows we are going to be crazy busy when all this stuff comes in. So yeah, optimistic for those of us in East Tennessee on the fruit trees this year. If all holds well, I'm hoping for a bumper crop. So that would be a good thing. So that was kind of what was going on around here today. Seems like I will say this, a lot of you guys liked the lunchtime video today, and I want to thank everybody for sharing what they did today. I made the video on a bunch of smaller channels that need to be watched, And if you've gone, I know a lot of you said you went and checked them out. I went out and looked at some of these channels and saw that you guys were in there commenting and things like that. And I guarantee you those content creators greatly appreciate the fact that you stop by to see what they do, because every one of those puts up good information. And like I said in that video, it's all different stuff what they talk about, which is great. It's not 12 different channels that all talk about guns or all talk about canning or something like that. There's a vast array of everything. Those are all channels that I check out constantly. And I mean, some post more often than others and everything, but they're always worth a listen to. The people are great. They're very, very nice people. I mean, I have never talked to any of them. But, you can tell by somebody's demeanor making a video, unless they're a total fake. And at that point, they're snowing everybody. That these are genuine, honest people. But what was really cool was in the comments today, y'all had shared a whole boatload of other channels that y'all watch. And I mean, God knows I can't know every one of them. I mean, those are ones that I know. And I wanted to talk about it. And I greatly appreciate, and I'd hope that everybody else in here appreciates the fact that you shared them, because maybe it's somebody I've never known, and it gave me more channels to go look at and check out. The whole point is, I mean, somebody made a comment. I thought this was really funny. Somebody made a comment thanking me, saying, "Oh, I don't see this as a competition." No, this isn't network TV. It's not ABC versus NBC to see who can get the most eyeballs at 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, okay? This is YouTube. And we want to, as a community, the whole prepper community, want everybody else to do well too. And the fact that you guys are sharing information that you have, maybe some of you are content creators, maybe some of you know of other channels that are people that are local to you or people that you followed for a while, and you share that stuff, because we can all learn something from everybody. The old adage of, when I stop learning, I start dying. That's pretty much the truth. We will learn something every day up until the day we die. And that's a good thing. There's no competition in this. I love the fact that people are going to go watch other channels, provided they're good channels. I mean, and like I said in the video, there's garbage channels out there. There's people that are just out there trying to sell you crap. There's people out there that are just trying to make clicks. I mean, YouTube even understands this. I mean, those of you that are content creators will get this part. But we get videos from the administration, if you will, at YouTube all the time about things that are in the works. And the latest one that they've been talking about is copied content. Okay, when somebody will take a clip of, say, my video and make it into their own video, or let's say, the biggest one is when people make compilation videos. They'll take something from mine and something from Jason's and something from Travis's and something from Rudy's, and they'll put it all together and package it as their own video, and YouTube is cracking down on that. That's good. And you guys know, I mean, there was one time I caught a guy who literally transcribed my entire video, re-recorded it, including all my bad jokes, in his voice, and thought that was okay. And of course it came back. So I think one of you guys told me about it. Came back to me, and I got with YouTube, and he took it down. But yeah, there's good information out there. Out of 99% of the channels are good. Some of them, a very few percent are crap. And, the fact that you guys shared a bunch of that, I thank you, because you helped not only everybody who was in the comment section, but you helped me find some other stuff that I can look at and learn on things that I don't know. So that was kind of fun. I was reading the comments before, maybe 15 minutes before we came live here, everything like that, as I'm looking through and seeing what you guys are talking to. A lot of you guys were talking about, at least a couple of people were talking about gardening and fertilizing and stuff like that. I want to give you this. Okay. I've mentioned many times that I'm not against if somebody wants to go to the store and buy 10, 10, 10 or 13, 13, 13 or, whatever, the commercial fertilizers. I mean, if that's what works best for you, go for it. Okay. The only thing that I tell everybody all the time is be aware of how much salt you're putting in your soil. There's a lot of salt in commercial fertilizers. And so, yes, they give that quick boost to your plants, but you're also killing your soil. I want to give you this. Besides the fact that fertilizer is expensive, my onions, and I went out and looked at my garden today. I've got cabbage that's starting to form heads. I mean, I've got some of my cabbage now is almost 3 feet wide. It's just crazy how big it is. About a month ago, I planted my onions. Okay, and I get onion sets from Dixondale Farms, and they come in, they're maybe 3 inches high. Okay, little bulb with a little bit of green on it. Hopefully, as they make it through and grow. Planted them about a month ago. 2 months ago, I had loaded my soil where my onions were going to go with a bunch of coffee grounds and ground up chicken bones, okay? Nitrogen and potassium. And about 3 days ago, I went out and watered my onions with a mixture of my urine and water. My onions are a month in the ground. The smallest ones are probably 8 inches. The biggest ones are nearly 2 feet high. No chemicals, guys. Okay. Save your coffee grounds, save your eggshells, save your chicken bones, save your shrimp shells, whatever you get there, anything along the lines like that. Guys, go pee in a jar. It's free. And I've done numerous videos on how I use this stuff, but you go into the store and you look at what a bottle of triple or a bag of triple 13 or a bag of 10, 10, 10 or something like that costs you. Could you do something else with that money? I don't know. Buy groceries. Every penny counts. You're trying to grow some of this stuff. Use what you already got. One of the channels I recommended today was talking about redneck inventions. Okay. If putting your own urine in your garden isn't a redneck idea, I don't know what is. But hell, even Danny at Deep South Homestead listened to me and goes, "Holy crap, this works." Okay. Yeah, that was what the video he did a year or two ago, something like that. It was like, yeah, all right. So that's kind of everything there. But let's have some fun tonight. Let's go completely crazy with questions and just see what's interesting on everybody's mind. So let's get into Q&A. Go grab a libation if you haven't already, because I'm going to go through the rules, and those of you guys that are old hat at this know this already. So here's your chance to go make a bathroom break, a fridge break, go grab a bag of Cheetos or whatever the hell, and we'll go from here. So, all right, if you've got a question for me, guys, please put it in all caps. Like every other YouTube channel out there, it just makes it a hell of a lot easier for me to get through the chat and see what's directed at me. That being said, I wholeheartedly encourage you guys to have conversations amongst yourselves. A couple of reasons. You may talk about something that I go, I don't know the answer. I don't have them all, never profess to. The other thing, I want that camaraderie. I mean, you guys find, oh my God, you're 3 miles away from me. I mean, there are at least 5 people here in my town I know through this channel that are preppers that I would have never known if it wasn't for talking online. Okay. Crazy how that works. So if you got questions, put them in all caps, but please feel free to have conversations amongst yourselves. Just keep those in lowercase letters. The only thing I do require, and those of you guys who are old hat know this as well, please treat everybody in here with the respect you would like to be treated yourself. I don't want to see any disparaging comments toward anybody else, towards me. If your goal here is to come be a troll, just leave. The moderators are so good at keeping the trolls out of here. If you've got any rude comments to make, nobody's going to see them because you will be zapped so fast it ain't funny. Okay. There is no second chance. That's it. You don't email me. Oh, I didn't mean what I said. I don't care. Okay. I simple. All right. So many people, you'll see so many YouTubers that will kowtow to everybody and say, "Oh my God, let me see if I can do this to fix it," and everything. Right? You screw up, you're gone. Okay. It's simple. I'm not. I do this for the people that want to be part of a community, not to the people that are sketchy. Good enough? Okay. All right. So let us get in. Let us get into the comments here. Let me get way up to the top because there's things going like crazy. All right. Doris P., I want to see what your shirt says, please, sir. It says 4-time indictment champion Donald Trump. There you go. I think Mountaintop Preps got me this for Christmas. It was kind of fun. So, yes. Scott McHugh, thank you for showing us new channels to look at. More knowledge hurts no one. Thank you. Yeah, you're most welcome. It was funny, this kind of ties into a couple of things. I was mentioning one channel that puts up, Mimi's Place, that puts up a lot of recipes. And and there's many that do this, don't get me wrong, but Mimi's is just one that I kind of like to watch just because of her ethnic recipes and stuff, which you can obviously figure me and Mrs. B like. And so we were looking at the trees today, and as I told you, the plums are going absolutely nuts. Any of you guys of Polish heritage, maybe Czech, Hungarian, Ukrainian, might know this, but does anybody know what chanina is? Okay. Mrs. P had never heard of it. It's not a Russian thing. Okay. Chanina is a Polish soup that is, and I haven't had this in probably 30 years, if not 40, because it's hard to get. And it used to be one of those things where, I was telling Mrs. P this story today. It used to be one of those things where when I was a kid, and we had more funerals in the family in the late 70s, early 80s. It seemed like every other weekend we were at a funeral from friends. Because this is back, when everybody from the old country all lived in the same neighborhood. So if the neighbor, the next door neighbor died, you went to the funeral. Okay, so we were always at funerals. And one of the things on my dad's side, the Polish side, you always had a lunch after the funeral. And one of the things that was always served was chanina, which was a Polish soup that was made, the stock was made from duck's blood. And then it was apricots, prunes, cherries, that sort of stuff. And my brother and I loved this soup. It's Polish black soup. So if any of you guys know that, I actually looked online today and there are recipes for it. Now, finding the duck's blood might be a little difficult because that's always been the problem, but I figure if I can find an Asian grocery, I might be able to find some. So I told Mrs. P, I said, we get enough plums. I said, I'm going to make, because she likes her soups. I told her I'm going to make some chanina and we'll see what happens. All right. Sidebar. Smoking Swamp Outdoors, thank you for the shout out. God bless. Shalom. You're more than welcome. You put up good stuff, dude. I'm more than willing, anybody that's got good information to share the names that you guys do. And I just thought it was a good idea. I was bouncing around YouTube this morning. As I said, it was raining. And I'm like, I'm going to go look at your channel and, a couple of Rural 2ICs and some of the other ones that I take a look at. I was like, you know what? I said, I really need to share all these channels with you guys because with everybody else here, that's how I got started. Jason talked about my channel. Rudy talked about me because, I'd participate in their live streams and everything. I remember Jason telling me, if you guys have been around here long enough, you'll remember this one. Jason, I had participated in Angry Prepper, Jason, his live streams, and to the point where he got to know who I was. And so he decided to do an interview with me. And so I was on one of his live streams, and he's like, "You really need to start a channel. You really need to start a channel." I'm like, "Okay." So I had started one, but I never did much with it. And so I did, and then he helped, and with the people that he knew, Hudson Valley, and other channels and things like that. I mean, and you guys know as well as I do, channels come and channels go. Like I said to Mrs. P today, I said there is going to come a day where I'm going to make my last video. Hopefully, it's not the day that I go meet my maker, but people come and people go. So, but I figured, all right, you know what, pay it forward. Jason did it, Rudy did it for me. I'm going to do it for other people and see how I can help. And then you guys just took it from there, and it snowballs. I love that. Vicky Savage, persimmons have male and female plants. You need one of each for fruit, but you may have wild persimmons. The one I got, I can tell you real quick, it is self-pollinating. It is a Tananashi persimmon. And from everything that I read on it, it is self-pollinating. So crossing my fingers. I'm not saying you're wrong, Vicky, no question. Okay, I've never grown a persimmon in my life. Okay, but we were at the grocery outlet. I got the nectarine and the apricot, about a week ago, and I told Mrs. P, and then we planted the 3 trees, and we need one more. We went in there, and all they had, they had 2 maples and a persimmon left. I mean, they're like 5 feet tall. They're sticks, but they were $10 a piece. I'm like, I can grow it. Okay, I'll stick it in the ground, and if it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, I'm out $10. Okay, I'm not going spending $59 on a tree or something like that. So we'll see what it does. I even had to look up how to eat persimmons. I've never eaten persimmons before, but look, okay, it's food. I'll figure it out. Okay, let's see. Off-grid living. Do I think the cicadas will wreak havoc on the gardens? No. We talked about this on Tuesday. And the cicadas are going to go after the trees, primarily the new growth on your fruit trees. That's what you've got to worry about. They're not going to worry about your tomato plants. They're not going after your peppers or anything like that. But if you've got fruit trees, I'm not going to guarantee this, but you got raspberries, grapes, any sort of bushes, things like that. They're looking for that green wood is what they're looking for. So pay attention to that. Check out your fruit trees every day. And if the cicadas have not gotten here, now it doesn't mean they're not coming. And I know if some of you guys already have them, but do what you can to get them away from your trees. Like I said, the kale and clay, if you can get that, get out and spray that stuff on your trees. It clogs up their way to breathe and aspirate. So that's the best thing to do. It's sticky to them. Again, like I've said before, kale and clay is the stuff that women use. It's what foundation is made from. What's it do? It sticks to the skin. Well, if it sticks to our skin, it sticks to their skin. Okay. Carolyn Robbins, how do I keep squirrels and other unwanteds out of the trees? Buy a border collie. I've got one dog that loves to chase squirrels. That's one way. Okay. And again, everybody's going to be different. I've got huge natural growth oak trees, chestnut trees, maple trees, elm trees on my property. And the squirrels will play in those. My fruit, I mean, when these trees are 150 feet high and my fruit trees are 20, the squirrels are in the big trees. Okay. The other thing is, and I've mentioned this many times, as silly as it sounds, think about any creature, including man. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Everybody, including human beings, will do whatever is easiest to get the outcome they want. If you want to go to from Chicago to New York, how many times? Let's just say you got on a plane. Okay, you're in Chicago. You want to fly to New York. It pisses you off if you've got to make a connecting flight in Miami. You're like, I'm going the wrong way, right? Okay. Same thing with a squirrel, for example. If you want to keep the crows out of your corn, put sunflowers out somewhere. They'd rather go for the sunflowers. You want to keep squirrels out of your garden? Put sunflowers out, put some peanuts out or whatever. I mean, you can go buy shelled peanuts at the feed store or whatever for freaking cheap. Okay. Deer corn is cheap. You know, things like that. Sunflower seeds, a little more expensive, but sunflowers are so easy to grow. Go plant a dozen sunflowers, which are pretty anyway. Get the ones with the jumbo heads, get all the seeds, and then spread those out for the birds, the chipmunks. They'll leave your gardens alone. Okay. Mrs. P is good at that. Between Mrs. P and Daphne, they are great at keeping the critters out of my gardens. Because Daphne loves to chase the squirrels and Mrs. P loves to feed the birds and the squirrels and everybody like that. Of course, then you could always get the air rifle out and start shooting the chipmunks, but that's the other thing. Mandy in Massachusetts, please explain how you will make wine. I've actually done videos on it. If you go look up on YouTube, I think I called it Dust in the Bottle or Dust on the Bottle, one of the two. But you can make wine out of store-bought grape juice or peach juice or whatever, Welch's, whatever it is you want to buy, make your own wine. Show you how to do it. It's real simple. I mean, it's literally the juice, yeast, and sugar, okay, and takes about a month, and you're done. And it's decent wine. You're not going to serve it to some hoity-toity dinner party, but good to do it there. But then as for making it out of homemade fruit, okay, now you're just going to press your wine or press your fruit to get the juice out. And I'll use this. Remember the old I Love Lucy episode with Lucy and Ethel stomping grapes? Okay, I'm not saying you got to do it that way, but all you're going to do is press all the juice out of your peaches, your pears, your plums, your cherries, whatever, and use the exact same process that I show in the video there. So there's a video up there on how to make wine. Again, like I said, you're not going to make fancy wines or anything like that, but there's enough people the funny part is I made that video. There's enough people that saw it and made their own videos and said, I tried Pinball's wine recipe and oh my God, it's good. Okay. It depends on, you can go get champagne yeast or something like that. You can get yeast that'll give you a higher ABV, but even if you use Fleischmann's yeast out of the grocery store, you're still going to get a wine that's going to have 10-12% alcohol in it. Okay, so just saying. Dawn Hill, I planted a lot of things today, but cross your fingers for me with my carrots. Yeah, you know me and carrots. My carrots have come up again. See what we get. Okay. But Dawn, here's the catch. In order for carrots to germinate, they have to stay moist. You cannot let them dry out. They dry out, they're done. Okay. So the best thing to do is put some cardboard or something over the seeds, over the soil with the seeds. Keep that cardboard moist, okay, which it'll store the water. It'll also keep the sun off of it. And then in about 5 or 6 days, start checking it every day. And as soon as you start seeing those carrots come out of the sprouts come out of the ground, then you're good. Then you can remove the board, remove the carrot, or remove the board, remove the cardboard, and you should be good. Then just water like normal. But the hardest part with carrots is to get them to germinate. And then for me, the hardest part once they get to germinate is have the soil right. And carrots like a loose, sandy, loamy soil. And we'll see if I got it right this year. So it's hard growing carrots in Tennessee, guys. I mean, we're planting in concrete here. So uh North Alabama hiking. Pinball, I got everything planted last week. Okay, you're further south than me, so that doesn't make sense. Planted 8 tomato plants. 3 were German pinks. One of them suddenly died. Happens every year where a few of them don't survive transplant. Any suggestions? Plant 10. Uh, that happens to everybody. You know, that, I mean, when I planted my cabbage, cabbage went in, put a start in every hole in the landscape fabric. Went out there in a few days and a few of them died. Okay. But I had planted an extra dozen cabbage plants. So when the ones died, I went out, took one of my backups and put it in a hole. I mean, it could be a million and one things. It could have been the plant was weak. It could have been you didn't get good contact, and you didn't get a good spread of the roots. There's a million reasons why. I mean, I know none of us want to do this. You go, oh my God, I don't want to thin my plants. I'm killing. It's a freaking seed. Okay. The plant doesn't have any feelings. It's not a liberal. It's not worried about it. You're not performing a plant abortion. It's a seed. It's a plant. Okay. How many times you pull weeds? Okay. Same different thing. At the end of the year, you're going to pull all the plants out of the ground. They're all going to die anyway. They don't care. They don't have a nervous system, a brain. But you should always plant extras. If you want to have 8 tomato plants, you should always plant 10, maybe 12. And if you've got extras, give them to the neighbor. Every year I've got extra stuff. It's like I'll ask my neighbors, hey, I got peppers or I got tomatoes or I've got whatever. Anything that I do in seed starts, I give to my neighbors, my friends. So, Debs, you're a generous, lovable, big old teddy bear. Okay, a big old teddy bear, no. Generous, I try to be. Lovable, that's up to Mrs. P to answer that one. Big old teddy bear, I can be a big old grizzly bear if I need to be. So, north of the 52nd, will I consider serving my country again by running for Congress, federal or state? Yes, I will. And Mrs. P and I have talked about that. I told you guys a year and a half ago or something like that, if we weren't redistricted, if Chuck Fleischman, who's now the U.S. representative for the 2nd District, he is an absolute piece of shit. Okay, he's a Republican. He's a piece of shit. Tim Burchett, we got redistricted. My area got redistricted. We're now in the 3rd District. Tim Burchett is a class act #1 excellent representative. I would not want it. I couldn't do better than he does. Fleischman, the stuff I flush down the toilet in the morning can do better than him. Okay. I hope somebody who's east of me in Tennessee runs against him, because he's just a slimeball dirtbag rhino. So no, I'm not, on a federal level, no, we've got a good congressman. Now, statewide, that's a possibility, because my state senator and my state representative, both are good. I'm going to try to put this as polite as I can. Both are getting up in age. So my guess is both of them will probably be retiring soon. And when they do, I will be, when I know they're not going to run, and I've talked to both of them. As a matter of fact, you guys have seen a video with me talking to both of them. uh, I will be running to replace them. So yes, I do plan on that. I'm not done in this life, trust me. Let's see. Original one shot, one kill. Pinball, the definition of professional is continually learning new things. Yes, I would agree. Okay. Because I don't care if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a financial professional, whatever, the world changes and things get, I mean, again, let's use computer professional. And I use this, so many times in my career. You got your degree in 1990. Congratulations, you learned how to program in COBOL. You want to continue your career? You might want to learn a couple new things because in 34 years now at this point, yeah, the world's changed a little bit. You're still a computer professional, but I guarantee you're not doing the same job you did 34 years ago. No different if you're in finance or if you're in medicine go back to 1990 and think about medicine and the medicine differences we have. I mean, Christ, in 1990, the internet didn't exist. Yes, there was a time, believe it or not, some of us can remember it. When you wanted to talk to somebody, you actually had to pick up the phone, dial it, and you were tethered to the wall. Not like now. Blackjack 22, how's my ham studying going? I'm not worthy. Yes, I haven't looked at it in 2024 yet. Okay. And that's completely bad on me. It's just not one of those things that I was, how do I put this? I don't enjoy the study. I find the studying really stupid for what they're trying to teach you. Okay. Teach me how to use it and I'm good. What angle this needs to be at, for a mountain to, okay, no, that's just stupid crap. Dave Haley, Prep Rebel Actual and God's Prepared Warrior are good channels. Give shout outs to a couple of your faithful. God's Prepared Warrior will go live after we're done. So if you guys know that, I know he does that at 9 o'clock Central Time on Saturday nights. So if you're looking for somewhere to hang out after this, there's a good place to go. Angel's Garden 3000. I'm in Maine and want to transplant a raspberry bush to my granddaughter's house. When should I do that? Okay. Raspberries. Raspberry canes like crazy. But the best time to transplant a raspberry is late fall or in winter. Because you want the bush to kind of go dormant. But remember that raspberries grow by runners underground. If you cut a little piece of root like that and stick it in her yard, it's going to grow. It's going to turn into a raspberry. Every year, raspberries are something that have to be pruned. And every year, in the spring, I've got to go out and cut off all the secondary or third year growth because you got prima canes, secondary canes, and you're going to get your fruit off your second year canes. So if you want to wait until after everything's done this year, wait until it's got cold, and then that would be the best time to do it. Dale from Ohio, what is my take on Biden's executive order concerning private gun sales and expanding background checks? Like everybody else, I'm going to ignore it. It's an executive order. It's not a law. And good luck trying to enforce that. I'll say this, and I've said this a million times on this channel. Just because somebody comes out and says something that they're going to do it, doesn't mean everybody's got to jump through hoops to agree. Somebody still has to enforce it. And how many cops have we heard say throughout Biden's entire presidency, that they're not going to enforce whatever he says because it's a violation of the Second Amendment? I mean, we've heard that from countless state troopers, county sheriffs, police departments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that no, it's unconstitutional. They're not going to enforce it. Well, if there's nobody to enforce this executive order, great. And I hate to tell you this, but the FBI and the ATF do not have enough agents to go around the entire country, knock on everybody's door, or patrol every website where you can sell guns and take care of it. Okay? It doesn't work. And then, of course, in 9 months, when Joe Biden's kicked out on his ass and put to pasture, hopefully in a freaking cemetery, I'm trying to keep my mouth clean, on day one, before Trump ever leaves the podium from swearing in with the Chief Justice, there's going to be one of his clerks standing there with a binder that's a foot wide saying, Mr. President, please sign this and this and this and this and this and this, and it's going to repeal the entire Biden presidency. And then we can get on with life in this country. Trump's no savior, don't get me wrong, okay? But the guy that we have running the show right now is hell-bent on destroying this country. Leo Miranda, thank you for the super chat. It says, for the Christmas fund, question. Good, okay. You guys know how the super chat thing works, right? If you have a great opportunity to buy land, assuming all is good with it, would you recommend selling some of the gold and silver to get the land cash? Yes, absolutely. Granted, gold and silver are both pulled back in price here in the last week or so. But here's my logic behind this. Gold and silver is a storage of wealth. Land can create wealth. Okay. You buy an ounce of gold right now. Let's say, for example, in Leo's question, let's say he can buy an acre of land for $2,500. Yes, I know that's crazy cheap, but let's just, for sake of argument, okay? So if he sells 1 ounce of gold for the land, in 1 year, let's say by the end of the year, let's say gold gets to $3,000 an ounce. Okay, great. He made 20% increase on where that land went, or where that gold went, from 2,500 to 3,000, increase of $500. Cool, 20% increase. Happy. What could that 1 acre of land produce? How many tomatoes would he have to grow to generate $500? Or peppers, or peaches, or anything, or build a house? They're not making any more land. What's on the earth now is it, okay? Unless they start creating some man-made island out in the middle of the Pacific somewhere, there's not going to be a whole lot more land. Gold and silver and everything like that, yeah, they're still mining it. So there's still a little bit more. Yes, I would absolutely sell the gold or silver to buy the land if it's good land and at a good price. My opinion. Disagree if you want. Let's see. One shot, one kill. Thank you as well for the super chat. From my pup Luna, some more for the shelter donation fund. You gotta love a man whose dog gets an allowance, or at least works for her food. There you go. If I could get my two to, start earning some money around here, rather than, no, Dad, we're gonna turn our nose up at this food. We want what you're eating. It's like I'm thinking to myself, dog, what you eat for dinner sometimes costs more than what I eat for dinner. So, but thank you for that. That's kind of cute, though. 76 Gina Bay. I think I got that right. Networking is how we survive. Absolutely. And we can go back to talking about the channels we shared today, everything like that. but I mean, one of my favorite stories, and for those of you again that have been around long enough, when we did the get together in 2021 uh, down here in Knoxville, I figured we were going to have 50, 100 people, those who are in the greater Knox County, Union, Claiborne, Granger County area. And we had people show up from Illinois and Wyoming and yada, 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 and then all over the country. It was like, okay, you drove all the way to Knoxville, to spend an afternoon looking at my ugly mug, right? I mean, I only got to talk to so many people, but it was a good thing that people got to meet each other. The coolest thing was that there were 3 or 4 people who came all the way down here from Pennsylvania who realized when they got here that they were all within an hour and a half or something of each other, and they formed a community in Pennsylvania when they met in Tennessee. So yeah, networking is how we survive. You never know where you're going to meet somebody. And gee, it happened to be a group of preppers. Oh, okay, got something in common. Gee, we're in Pennsylvania. We got a couple of things in common. Where in Pennsylvania are you? You got to be kidding me. That's what it takes. A lot of you guys ask me, how do you meet other preppers? Networking. Jan Rudd, pinball, have you noticed any physical improvements, i.e. no more pain or wherever, less anxiety because of carnivore? No, that I haven't, though I am down 22 and a half pounds since we started, so good. And you guys I appreciate the comments when I did the video the other day. Y'all said I looked thinner. I appreciate it. I don't see it because I see me every day, but I appreciate you guys saying that. But I know what the scale says. Less pain or anything? No. I mean, the funny thing is telling Mrs. P, bowling season ends here in a couple of weeks. And I was telling her, I said, I'm glad it's almost over because I got tennis elbow from bowling. Okay, fine. It happens that way. I don't know, maybe. I mean, the one thing I'll say that I notice is my posture has gotten better. And why? Because I'm not carrying so much in the midsection, so it's caused me to bend over a little bit. Am I there? No, I still want, I want to drop another 37 pounds. Okay. Energy-wise, no, because I've always been relatively high energy. I mean, I'm sitting there, I don't like to be bored. I've got to find something to do. And sometimes that's good things, sometimes that's bad things, but I need to keep occupied. Anxiety, no, I used to have real bad anxiety problems. Try being homeless and see if you don't have anxiety problems. But no, I've overcome those. Let's see. Royal Lioness, plagiarism is real. Joe does it all the time, as do a lot of college professors. Oh yeah, ain't that the truth? I just find it lazy in life. I mean, and you even go back into high school or whatever it was, and people copying paragraphs out of a book and turning it in paper and things like that. Like, why are you even bothering? You're not learning anything. Express your own thoughts. I don't need to express somebody else's. Somebody else can influence what I'm going to talk about. And I mean, again, I think was it this morning? I think I talked about Michael Snyder's article. Okay. I read it. It was a good article, but I think it needed to be extrapolated on more. And so, yes, I'll give him credit for what he wrote, but then I want to take it one step further, and, you start, again, it's thinking. And unfortunately, thinking is a lost art in this country. It's just, I'm going to parrot whatever my professor says, or whatever CNN says, or whatever the bartender says. And I'm like, do you have any independent thought? I mean, as I joke all the time about Hollywood, Robert De Niro, all the, you know, Donald Trump is like Hitler. I know exactly what I'm thinking to myself. You made a career out of speaking other people's words. For 50 years, you've been reading a script. Nobody cares what you think. Why do you think we're going to start now? You have never had an independent thought before. Why should we think? Why? And now we know why nobody wants to hear what you think, because you're a moron. You can read a great line. You can say somebody else's words wonderfully, but when you open your mouth and use this thing, my dog is smarter. Just the way it is. North of the 52nd, thank you for the super chat. Would I pay off a 3.5 mortgage or buy more silver now? I can pay it off later when dollar is devalued. Okay. I'm still a believer in a bird in the hand. Okay. I want to play, sure, we all love to. I mean, today was the Kentucky Derby. You're going to bet on a horse. Okay. I hope this horse is going to win. Where you go to Vegas and play poker or play blackjack or roulette or the slot machines and you hope it's going to win. What do you know for sure? You know for sure that at the end of, what is today, May 4th? On May 4th, 2025, you're going to have paid 3.5% on the balance of your mortgage. Do you know on May 4th of 2025 what the value of silver is going to be? No. Do you know if the dollar is going to be devalued? No. But you do know that you will have paid 3.5% interest on the mortgage. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, but I like to bet on sure things. I would pay off the mortgage because once, and those of you that have done this know this, there is no better feeling than when the first time that the first of the month rolls around and you see that paycheck and you go, I don't have to write a mortgage check this month. You go, holy crap, honey, where'd all this extra money in the checkbook come from? And you go, this is now my house, not the one the bank owns, that if I screw up somewhere or something bad happens to me, they can take it from me. I mean, think about this. You're down to your last mortgage payment. You've paid for 29 years and 11 months, and you missed that last payment, and you have lost your job, or something tragic happens. The bank can foreclose. You owe $1,000 on a $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 house, and the bank goes, cool, thanks. And in some states, you don't get any of the proceeds for what they sell. Okay. So, yeah, pay it off. Okay, bird in the hand. Take the guarantee. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. But I'll tell you what, peace of mind is worth more than, I don't know, the interest or whatever that you're going to get on, let's say it's $25,000. Let's say you got a $2,000 mortgage payment. Okay. Disney Mom 5, Pinball, thanks for promoting Wellbots. Noah helped us out with a generator that met our needs and budget. We're grateful for having this for oxygen and CPAP. And that's the reason, I mean, why Elliot and I work so well together. He's not trying to force anything on me. I'm not trying to force anything on you. And then in turn, when you guys call them, they're not trying to force anything on you. I mean, y'all don't have any clue how many different companies approach content creators. I mean, I've told you before about lingerie companies. I mean, one of these days I'm going to take them up on it, and I'm going to model lingerie because they want me to, uh, and they're going to write me a freaking check. But how many companies that sell our software, sell our gaming? I'm like, I get these emails all the time. We watched your channel and we're really impressed. And I'm like, you're selling video games. You've never watched my channel ever, so don't give me the crap. It's stupid. And, when I find good companies, Wellbots, good company. I talked about Solar One USA. It took me a freaking year to find a solar company, okay? That would do the work. Quality was not one of these, we'll slap it up there and no, shit doesn't work. Sorry, no, it was good, the whole 9 yards. Opus, is another good one. But I've told you before, there's a lot of stuff that people have sent to me, and this crap. Hovsco and their bikes, good bikes. Okay. You have no idea how much stuff I've got on my front porch, and I've put this together, and I got back to them, and I'm like, send me a return label. This is shit. Okay. And even Elliot knows it. We had one that the EcoFlow cooler. I told him, this is garbage. And that was the end of that. He's like, send it back. And that was it. I think EcoFlow did a lawnmower at one point. I'm like, I'm not even interested in review. What am I going to do with a little robotic lawnmower in 3 acres? It's going to be running for all week. So, yeah. And I try. Okay. Is any company 100% perfect? No. Okay. Do I make mistakes? Yes. Okay. But I try, they try, and I try to show you guys and recommend stuff at least that I've already used myself, that I'm trying to save you some of the heartache of it. And, I know the folks at Elliott's or at Wellbots would really appreciate the fact that, you wrote them a review and say exactly what you said here. So, Linda Bopp, I shaved my 2 dogs' fur down for the warm weather. Can I put that fur in my garden? Yes, absolutely. It is hair, human hair, dog hair, whatever it is great biomass to put in your garden. Believe it. This is silly. If you know a barber, or if you are a barber, and all that hair that they sweep up in the day, throw it in your compost pile. It's organic material, guys. It's good. Okay. Again, it is it's a source of phosphorus for sure, and possibly potassium, or the other way around, one of the two. It's got the 2 P's. Mink, yeah, with all those plums, I can ferment and make something stronger than wine. Yeah, I can. Okay. But plum wine is really good. Anybody that's ever been to a Asian restaurant and had plum wine is really good. Okay. I still want the Chanina. Kevin Little, a channel I love is Townsend's. Oh yes, that is one of my favorites. Okay, they cover 17th to 18th century cooking, way of life, etc. I've always been interested in that period of history. I always learned. I love watching their videos because they will literally take old recipes. When I'm saying old recipes, literally the recipes that were written 200, 300 years ago, and make them with those ingredients over an open fire they not only take it, but they'll do the recipes in period clothing in the actual way, it wasn't like, oh, we're taking this recipe and throwing it in the microwave. No, it's like you would have had a Dutch oven of some sort like this, and you'd be cooking it over an open fire. I mean, they do it real. It's the Townsends and they've got a second channel where they kind of go into the taste tests and stuff like that. And I want to do. It's really, really interesting to watch their stuff. Paprika Pauline, I have no room or place to put a compost pile. Can I dig a hole and just bury it? Yes, for the most part. Okay. And again, you got to think about what you're going to do. The best way I would say doing that is to, if you can do kitchen scraps, eggshells, bone meal, or chicken bones or whatever it is, do what I show. Dry it, whether you throw it in the oven, whether you throw it in the dehydrator, powder it up, and then dig the hole and put it in that way. Because I guarantee you, if you put half a carrot in the ground or chicken bones in the ground, you're going to get up in the morning and something's going to have dug it up. Okay, so if you don't have if you're talking about household scraps and stuff like that, yeah, dig it up and bury it, or grind it up, dry it up, grind it up, and you can do that. At the end of the year, okay, you see me do this at the end of the year. I just take all my grass clippings, the leaves, everything I can, and I just dump it on my gardens. And then in the spring, I turn it all in. A lot of it will have decomposed over the winter, and the rest of it I just turn into the soil, and it decomposes over the summer. North Whittingham Circle Farm. Have I thought about geothermal cooling? I have a heat pump, so it's pretty much what my house runs on anyway. But you still have to have a fan, which still runs on electricity. Whoops, and we are at 10:01, and I am digging into somebody else's time. I'm sorry, guys. I ran over. All right, it is 10:01. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you in the morning. Got some fun stuff for tomorrow. Pinball out.